Thank you very much. Thank you. First thing, it's not on my list here. First thing I have to say, everybody else connected with this band did all the work. I was called last summer or last winter down in Florida. Would I be willing to come up and direct an alumni band? Sure, there's nothing to do with that, and they would take care of everything. Well, I arrived here this morning. Everything was all set. And this gentleman over here, Nick Rhodes, came into the rehearsal and he said, we want to try to express our appreciation to everybody in the band and me. And so here we have these t-shirts, Mr. Fread's alumni band, and they're all wearing, I played in Mr. Fread's alumni band. I told one of the guys over there, I think this is the first time I can say this was my band. Nick asked if I would say just a few words, and I have just a few things to note here, and I'm sure some of you will recognize what I can remember also. My memories begin in July of 1953. I knew there was an opening in Hartford City High School for a band director's job, and I arranged an interview with Mr. Blackburn, the superintendent, on a Sunday afternoon at his home. It was the only time he and I could find a spot where we weren't busy with something else. So Norm and I came up here, and we'd had a long conversation, and I knew at that time I wanted the job. And obviously, he had the same reaction, and I got the job. I credit Mr. Blackburn for a large percentage of my success at Hartford City High School. His support and encouragement meant so much. I thank him, the various school board members, Mr. Myron Clark, the principal at the time, and other principals who followed at Hartford City High School, parents of band students, and supportive community leaders for giving me the opportunity to teach. That is really the important bottom line. You have to have the opportunity to teach. And if you have that opportunity, it happens. The band room. Some of you will know exactly what I'm going to say. I just have a couple of comments to say. An internationally famed composer of band music, Dr. Alfred Reed, walked into the room one weekend when he was guest conductor of our band at a national bandmaster convention and just looked in amazement. An old, out-of-date basketball court made into a band room. After the first rehearsal, he commented, "You don't always need the most elaborate facility to make great music, and you students just proved the point." And I remember one rehearsal, and some of you, I'm sorry, I don't remember dates, so some of you will relate to this, who were in the band at this time. We were working on the last section of a very full and loud composition, cut off the final chord, and ceiling plaster started falling. Now, some of you will recall plastered walls. They might be this thick. And some of these things were coming down from way up, maybe this big. And that's a shuddering situation. But thankfully, no one got hit. And when the dust settled, we always thought we were so thankful that no one was hurt. Later, we laughed about it, and I still chuckle about it. Work was done immediately to fix the problem. The faculty. Hartford City High School was blessed with a very fine faculty. It always seemed to be a team effort to offer the very best to our students. I always thought it had to be a team effort during band rehearsals. The band was located right in the middle of the building. There were no acoustical treatments of any rooms to keep sound contained. They were just rooms. What was it, 1904? Yeah, well, that's the way they built them. And I always appreciated what the classroom teachers put up with while they were lecturing their class and the band was in full rehearsal. Do you know what? I never heard a complaint. I was fortunate to have an assistant a few years in my stay, and I had some very good people. I must mention one particular man right now, John Brain, who spent 8 years with me before moving on to a better position. John was just an exceptional teacher. And also I want to acknowledge 2 other teachers who worked with me and are playing today, and much to my surprise this morning, John Brain is also over there playing. And Linda Sims and Fred Sill. The 3 of you stand up, will you please? John, Linda, and Fred. Thanks, guys. They really contributed to the band during their years here. Band directors and coaches had to have a good rapport with each other. I remember in college, our old college band director, he pushed this fact so much. He said, guys, you've got to get along with those coaches because you're both doing the same thing. You're putting your product right out in front of the public. So you've got to work together. Well, I tried at my best, and lo and behold, I had some wonderful coaches who I think had the same philosophy. Some of my best friends were from the coaching staff: John Carbone, Claude Weeks, Kenny Dorton, Eldon Lee, Dave McCracken, just to mention a few, and there were a lot more after that too. There were many times when sharing the football field or the gym for either a performance or a rehearsal was done with complete cooperation. I really appreciated this kind of relationship. I must mention one more faculty member. Somebody here has already mentioned his name, who helped me and the band program. Mr. Tracy Curlin had a great interest in the Hartford City High School band. He gave me so much encouragement and assistance. I think he went with us on every trip we ever took. All those contest trips and everything. Tracy was always available and helping make sure the equipment was loaded right, and the roll call was taken and everything. Just great assistance, and such a great guy. Many, many band trips and memories. Marching band contest for years was held at Fort Wayne Northside High School. I believe we had 7 consecutive years when we had first division ratings, and many of those included sweepstakes and divisional trophies. Several times we brought home the inspection and best drum major awards. Yeah. And it was either Burtman Ford or Nelson Townsend down at the News Times who wrote, "The band won everything but the kitchen sink." And if they presented it, we would have brought it home, right? Yeah. Then every spring, the concert band, or the Hartford City High School Symphonic Band, as we called ourselves, went to concert contests. This trip could be to Huntington, Columbia City, Goshen, or even up to Whiting or Hammond up in the northwest corner of the state. Our band came home with Division I awards and just great trips. This is just a little out of context right now because of other things that have been said, but I'm going to read it anyway. We must recognize today Linda Sims, who was my former student and later one of my assistant band directors, and her helpers for making arrangements for today's alumni band. We also owe a great deal of thanks and appreciation to these former band members who made a great deal of effort to be here today. We met this morning at 9:30. Well, we were supposed to start at 9:30. You know how it would be. "Oh, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you?" And blah, 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 blah. Finally, we got started. I wasn't sure, and I told them, I wasn't sure how bad this, or how good this was going to sound. I was amazed. I told them I had 2 or 3 little tricks of the trade that I thought I might have to use to try to help bring in some kind of balance and blend. These people were just amazing. We ran through the national anthem a couple of times, and it sounded pretty good. And then we had this 2 school songs that we worked on, you know, and I was just amazed, happily amazed. What a great job, people. Thank you. I also want to remember and acknowledge the efforts of Dr. Conrad Galloway, who was superintendent, Dr. Max Glenn, assistant superintendent, and Dr. John Imhoff, who was the Hartford City High School principal. All 3 of these gentlemen had just completed their doctorates at IU, and I think they all came at the same time. They were probably hired in one blanket to come up here and get things ready for the transition from Hartford City High School, Montpelier High School, to Blackford High School. And I just want to say that I thought those gentlemen did such a great job, as well as offer so many wonderful educational experiences for the faculty. The transition from the 2 high schools to the 1 high school, I think, was wonderful. And I really appreciate their efforts and their friendship while in Blackford County. Thank you. When Nick invited me to say a few words about my memories of Hartford City High School, he stated I could use any length of time. You're fortunate. At my age, my memory doesn't function like it used to. Otherwise, I'd stand up here all afternoon and bore you. But be assured, Norma, my wife, our children, and I will always cherish our time in Hartford City and the wonderful times in Hartford City High School. Thank you, Mr. Fread.